think. Yes, I am live. I'm adjusting my camera. Hello, everybody. Oh, nobody's here. Well, they'll be here any minute. Yes, I am a little late to the party. Sorry about that. I'm wrangling a couple of things, and so I was not a good doer today in terms of being on time, but I'm here now. Who is with me? Hi, MBJ. Hey, Josh. Everybody's jumping on now. Hi, Joseph and Christopher. Hi, Eric Rhodes. How are you guys? Team Batman 137 Productions is here. Christopher, Dude on Wheels. Oh, I love it. I love it. Josh, Super Duty. Hey, babe. How are you? WWE Motors. Hey, Parker, my little brother. Hey, Terry Knuckles. Oh, Samorosco. Fangirl. I love this. I love this. I love this. Hey, Blaine. Oh, you're all popping on. Forgive me. Let's see. Eyeline. I have my camera upside down from where I normally do it. Does it look like I'm looking at you? I do believe it is. Yeah. If I'm looking there, yeah. I think if I'm looking here, let me think. Phone. Yeah, that's where the camera lens is. Hi, everybody. It's been a while, huh? Yes, it has. It has been a while. I'm just reading a couple of these. What are my Halloween plans? I'm actually going to be at a workshop. So my Halloween plans are that I'm going to be meditating with a large group of people because I'm that person. Oh, I know. I am that person. I do love to meditate in with the group of people that I have been working with for several years. I'm going to talk about that a little bit. I'm used to looking that way. I gotta look this way. Hey, so hi everybody. I'm here. It's good to be here. It's good to see you. There's so much going on. There's so much. I was at somebody just saw my NECA figure at hi everybody. You're so sweet. At here, I'm just trying to get my. There we go. Let's see. Do we want to? Nope. We just want to keep it normal. There we go. Normal. Where's your big leather throne? I love that chair. Oh, thank you. You know what? Because I was running late, it's a little dark in that room. That's actually my guest room. And I did not have the time to set up lights. So I figured I'll come out on the porch. I know the sound's not quite as good. Maybe what I could do is move this forward. Let's see. So they're not quite so far away from everybody. I have to introduce you to somebody. This little one. This is Harley Quinn, and she is exactly her name. She is the menace of the house. I have another cat over there. The light is changing. Sorry, guys. Let's see, if I adjust it on my screen, then maybe it won't matter. There we go. No, we're done. We're not playing with any of this crap because it's beyond me. Anyway, hi. This is a bumpy start, but that's okay. It's been a while. I'm gonna take a breath and just get present to be with you guys. It has been a while. I have been on the road. I have been doing a lot of Comic-Cons. I have been meeting so many of you. It is such a joy to meet you. I had no idea that when I started going out on the road and doing Comic-Cons and meeting all of you, that it would be such a great experience for me. I don't know. I don't think I really knew what to expect. And now that I've met you guys, so many of you, it is so much fun to be out there. It's also so much fun because the people that I do Comic-Cons with, I love so much. I feel like it's this weird high school reunion that happens, a couple of times a month, and it's so much fun. And, I'm with an agency called Primetime Appearances, and it's definitely like a family. And so we always have a family dinner, usually on Saturday night, which is so much fun. When am I coming to Ireland? Oh, and Canada. You know, I had one scheduled this year. I wasn't able to come. Canada, that is. Ireland, I would love to come. At the moment, there really hasn't been an opportunity for me to go abroad, but you know, I'm hoping that I get to do that. Who knows, maybe even next year. Now that the world's opened up more, it's easier to travel and to go and explore. In fact, my son is in Italy right now, and he just celebrated his 27th birthday. What? It's astonishing to me that I have a 27-year-old son. I have a 22-year-old daughter. I love them so much. I am so proud of the human beings that they are. There are no words. All right, I've been jammering on. I got some stuff to talk with you guys about because it has been a while. It's been a really interesting summer. We're now full on. I don't know if you can see out my window, but it is the most beautiful fall colors outside. There are leaves dropping. I have so many leaves. My property is surrounded by trees, and literally every leaf falls off of every deciduous tree and lands on the ground. It makes for incredibly fertile soil, but it's a hell of a lot of, I admit, we don't rake, we blow. If we didn't, we couldn't possibly deal with the amount of leaves that are dropping. But it is the fall. For me, the fall is a time, it's like, I still have that vibe in me of back to school. You know that feeling like when it starts to become sweater weather and it gets a little, if you're living in a part of the world where it gets a little cool. I spent so many years in California and Los Angeles, and it never got cool, or it got cool in the winter, but in the fall it warmed up. And now that I'm living in Nashville, we have the 4 seasons and I'm loving it. And so the fall always feels like it's a bit of a new beginning. I feel that way at the beginning of the year, and I feel that way at my birthday, and I feel that way in the fall. And so that's like 3 times in the course of the year where I get to really review, like, what's going on? Where am I? How am I doing? What have I accomplished this year that I said that I was going to accomplish? I do set New Year's resolutions. I would call them more intentions. You will probably hear a cat fight break out. Yeah, that's a cat fight. They do love each other, finally. But anyway, I set intentions for the year, and you know, some of them, we all know how New Year's resolutions get dropped by mid-January, maybe February. Rarely, although it does happen, you know, that we follow through the whole year. So this is kind of a big year for me. This is my 59th year, my 59th trip around the sun, which means next June, I will be 60. And at my big birthdays, 30, 40, 50, I'm getting my toe licked. I love these cats, especially this kitten. She's just a menace, but so sweet. At those big milestone birthdays, 25 is another one, is when I really assess, like, where am I in my life? And what are the things that I want to bring forward? What are the things I want to leave in the rear view mirror? And how am I going to get there? Because I've learned that if I don't have a strategy, it's kind of like you're going on a trip. If you don't have a map, you're not going to reach the destination. You got to have some kind of a map. And so, and thank you everybody for, I can kind of see out of the corner of my eye, your lovely compliments. I feel like I do look my age, but I have a different perception of age. I feel like the things that I do in my life are made to empower me and grow myself stronger and better. And I really do believe that we have the technology now where you can start aging yourself backwards. And I've seen it. I've seen it in myself. I've seen it in other people, and there are strategies for that. But you've got to have a roadmap. So I've really been assessing, like, I also, and I've said this to you guys before, you've heard this, I plan to go to 110, maybe 120, I don't know. I have no idea. It really depends on if my body is in good shape and I'm mobile, and my mind is in good shape and it's flexible and open and curious, and that my life is a good, beautiful life. So why do I want to live that long? I finally met my husband when I turned around 50, and I feel like we just need decades and decades together to do all the things that we intend to do and to have the fun that we have all the time. That's one. Two, I want to see my children grow up and grow old. I want to, hopefully between my husband and I, we have 4 beautiful children, and, maybe we'll get a grandchild or 2, and I'm going to want to be around for that for as long as possible. I also feel like the world is such a shit show right now on the one hand, and there's some great things happening on the other hand. And I think I want to see, because I'm one of those people who's like an eternal optimist, even though I am becoming more and more of a realist, as things that I used to believe come busting, breaking apart, getting shattered. And as I'm growing and changing, I really want to see how this turns out in, 50 years from now. And I think I've got a good shot of, if I take good care of myself, of getting to that place. Maybe not, I don't know. We'll see. But it does require a strategy. And I am somebody who is so well intended, but I don't always follow through. I am really challenged by time management. Hey Christina, how are you, love? I was probably 15 minutes late to this because I got distracted. Ever the squirrel. There's something that takes my focus. On the one hand, it's good because it means I'm really in the present moment. On the second hand, it is not working for me because I'm late. It's disrespectful to the people around me. I don't like when people keep me waiting. And it's something I've been dealing with in my life, and I see it with my children. Not as much with one, definitely with the other one, where they have real time management challenges. And they learned it from me, the master of, 10, 15 minutes late all the time. So that's not something that I want to bring forward in my life. It's also something that I have wired into my brain, which means I have to override it. I'm not going to unwire it. I'm going to layer something on top of it. So I've been at it for a really, really long time. This amongst many things that I am working on, I'm really thinking about, like, in the second half of my life, like, who do I want to be? How do I want to live? And my husband and I are really talking about this a lot going forward as we have been making changes in our lives. Part of it was leaving Los Angeles and moving to Nashville. Part of it was moving to the woods. Part of it was the lifestyle that I wanted to live. There's a lot. It's a lot. And I've been doing a lot of journaling. I've always kept a journal. I think I still have a journal from when I was like 14 years old. Please, when I die, burn them all. I gotta tell my kids, nobody needs to read these. Or maybe they do. I don't know. I probably won't even care. But I do write my vision for the future. I find that when I write, it helps me understand where I am, particularly if I'm confused, if I'm unsure. I find that writing helps me tremendously. Read them to us. Oh my gosh. Probably the ones that I've written in the last 10 to 15 years are worth reading. I think the ones when I was younger were just like recycling the same things over and over again. And not to say that I don't still recycle some of those things. I love it. Joseph said, unlearn it. Absolutely, you unlearn it. And how do you unlearn things? You unlearn things by learning new things and making them more, have more of a pull on my life and on my dreams and on my future. I've started listening to a book, again, on Audible that I have, called Atomic Habits by James Clear. And what he lays out in this book is how small changes, he calls it the aggregation of small changes over time, that when you make, and I think I've talked about this before on this channel, when you make small changes over time, they equal big changes. A couple examples he uses is if you were flying from Los Angeles to New York in a plane, you're the pilot, and you're off by 3 degrees. When you travel that distance across the United States, instead of landing in New York, you'll land in Washington, D.C. Another example that he gives, and I really recommend this book for anybody. If you're a listener, it's on Audible, and he narrates the book himself. If you're tactile, and I know there's a lot of diagrams and stuff in the book. So, order it on Amazon, get it used, go to the bookstore, your local bookstore, go to the library, order it from them. If it's not in stock, libraries will always get books for you. It's a great book. He talks about the British racing team. They, up until 2005, I think it was, they never won a single Olympics, Tour de France. In fact, they were such a bad cycling team that one of the major bicycle manufacturers in the UK would not let them ride their bikes because they felt it was such, it made their bikes look like they were bad. And then they got in a new coach whose name right now is escaping me. Brailford, I think his name, last name. I don't remember his first name. He came on as the coach and started making these little microscopic changes, tiny ones. And little things like, changing this clothing that they wore so that it would be lighter, more aerodynamic, little tweaks to seats and tires, and all of these changes that aggregated over time. In the span of, I believe it was 3 years, they went to the Beijing Olympics. This is a team that had won gold medal back in like the early 1908 or something. And they captured 60% of the cycling medals. The following year, they went on to win the Tour de France, and then did that for like the next 5 or 6 years. And it was just these changes, these really small changes over time that became massive changes in a decade. And he talks about doing the math, and that if you do a 1% change over the course of a year, you will be 37% better, more proficient, capable, what's the word I'm looking for? You'll have mastery around whatever that changes that you're making, whether it's your diet or exercise or you're reading more or whatever. If you're just doing 1% a day over the course of the year, you'll be 37% better at the end of the year, which is significant. If you don't make those changes, you will go into the negatives with it. You will be 37%. There will be a zero change, and you will find that you're actually heading in the opposite direction of where you want to go. Now, I know that sometimes when I am set on changing some things, I like to do big sweeping gestures that are obvious, and that's why a lot of times New Year's resolutions don't work, because you're trying to do this like thing really, really fast, as opposed to just really small changes. So one of the things that I've learned, getting back to time management, is that I overestimate how much I can get done in a day. And so what I do is now I've started to get really realistic every night, and I meant to bring it. I think it's on the kitchen table. I have a little notebook, and the night before I go to bed, I write out my day. And I put a little box, and I have to check it. If I complete the task, I get to check it. If not, I put an X in the box. And I've learned to put less in my day. And when I'm a squirrel and I get off track, and this happens a lot, what I do is I write in what I did accomplish. I put a little box. I put a little check, and then I decide, do I want to carry this task that I didn't get to? Do I want to carry it over into tomorrow? And sometimes I will carry something for a couple weeks, but it finally gets done. I'm very kind to myself in the process, mostly. That is another habit that I'm creating. But all of this is because what my goal is for 60 is to build a better brain and a stronger, leaner, more vital, flexible body that is filled with vitality. And if I don't have a strategy for this, I'm not going to get there. I will not succeed. And I've found that I have to write it out the night before, and I leave it on the kitchen table, so it's the first thing I see in the morning when I go down to feed the cats and make my coffee, that, this is where I'm aiming today. I have a place to aim. I never use my book against myself. I think in the past I had, like if I didn't live up to what it was I said I was going to do, that was a sign of my wrongness, my inability to grow or change. It was an old story. So part of it too is, what stories am I going to let go of? So the building a better brain part is that I have old habits that are neurologically wired into my body. And what we think about creates an emotional response, which signals some chemistry in our body, which now makes us think more thoughts like the thought that we just thought, that is generally connected to something that happened in my past and in our pasts. And so what I'm working on is being really, really conscious of what my thoughts are. And is this something I want to take forward? Is this something that is benefiting me? Is this a thought equal to my vision of who I want to become, of who I believe I am? Or is this something that is not working for me? I think one of the things that I have done in the past, and I think it's a really common thing to do, and it's to fight for our limitations. It's, it is when we choose to see ourselves as victims, and then we, I know there's some great comments in here. Anyway, I'll go back. I always try to go back and read all of your comments because they are brilliant, like you all. So we live in a time, I believe, where victim culture is celebrated. Whatever it is, whatever, people are sometimes rewarded. Oftentimes, there's a lot of attention that you get when you're always talking about what's wrong in your life or why you can't have the goals, dreams, things that you believe you would like to have. And sometimes there's really real things that are preventing you from getting to where you want to go. But every single person who has succeeded in their lives, who has created a life that they love, that has created success for themselves, joy for themselves, a life worth living for themselves, something that matches their imagination of who and what they want to be. They had to overcome themselves and whatever it was that was standing in the way of their vision and their dream. And a lot of times that means you have to override disempowering thoughts, old stories. You have to, let me speak in the first person. I've had to let go of things that are really valid about things that have happened in the past, but they just don't serve me. They keep me in a place where I stay a victim, or I'm disempowered, or I stop the possibility of growth and change. I have learned that I am responsible for my life. I cannot give it away to other people to take care of for me. And everybody, we've seen so many people over the course of history. If you love history, go back and read it. We've seen it in the course of our lives. There's people who have come from horrible circumstances. There are people who've really had all kinds of medical, physical, financial challenges that they have overcome. And I think the only way that a person gets ahead is by taking responsibility for their experience. So I take 100% radical responsibility for my experience, which means I have to be very clear about what I want and the direction that I'm going in. And that when I am falling back into old beliefs, patterns, and behaviors, that I have to gently and compassionately press pause, stop myself, regroup, remind myself of my why. Why am I doing this? What is the life that I am in service of, that I'm searching for, that I'm trying to create or allow in or draw to myself? And I am responsible for how that goes. And shit happens. Shit happens that we don't like, and it gets in the way, and it fucks us up, and it's tough. I'm sorry if I don't think there's kids really listening, but if they are, I am a potty mouth. I am. But, so I take really radical responsibility for my experience and my life. And so part of that is building a better brain. I'm going at the end of the month There's actually going to be a retreat here in Nashville with somebody who I've spoken about before, who I really admire his work very much. His name is Dr. Joe Dispenza. He's written several books. He's written You Are the Placebo, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. His last book is Becoming Supernatural. It's common people doing uncommon things. He's been on every podcast. If you like Jay Shetty, he's been there. I mean, Google him. And his work is profound because it's all about rewiring your brain. And that takes time. It took time to wire your brain for how you are now or how I am right now, and it's gonna take me time to wire in, to override. It's sort of like, you know, we all have these operating systems in our lives, and you know, when we get buggy operating systems, and we have to install new hardware. And I think as a person grows, and the longer that you're around, the more you have to keep upgrading your operating systems. And I think that that's one of the keys to longevity and to staying young. And yeah, it's like somebody was saying, Yoda said, you must unlearn what you have learned. And it's absolutely true. Like we are responsible for our operating systems. And if we don't like them, we are responsible for changing them. And it's a tall order. It's big, you know. We all want to change a lot of things about ourselves. And that's where atomic habits come in. If you just do a tiny little bit, you know, choose like one thing or three things. Or I'm a list person. I'm trying to get away from it, but I love my lists. And I have always been a person who wanted a large helping, who wanted to take the big leap or go for that big thing or climb up that big tree or jump across that big abyss. Just how I'm wired. I think it's because I had older brothers and I wanted to keep up, and I wanted to distinguish myself as being a little sister who could. I had a lot to prove. And I think I had a lot to prove because I felt inadequate. And that's something I've had to work on my whole life, is learning how to love myself and learning how to support myself and learning how to be compassionate and a champion of myself. Because really, nobody is going to be our champion. We can enroll people a little bit and get them to come along, but you know, when the going gets hard, everybody's kind of doing their thing. And so it's on me to make those changes in my life that I need to make in order to have the life that I have said and know that I want to have. So this is what, 33 minutes. I have a lot more to say about this. How do you guys feel? Does this resonate with you? Is this something you even are interested in exploring? It really helps me if you leave a comment below, because then I know, like, am I on the right track here with what people want to talk about? Do I need to create another channel that's just about, or another set of videos that's just about Hollywood stuff, working in the industry, or you know, my experiences as an actor and an artist? You know, that's one of the things, you know, I have been threatening for years to like start teaching, to do some stuff for young artists, actors, artists, whatever, and creative people. And I just, my follow through has fallen short so many times. So I'm really looking at that. Like, is that something I really want to do? Because I haven't done it all the way through, but I have reams of notes. I have so much to say. So I'm starting to learn how to focus in one area for a longer period of time so that I can actually get something done. I see some really long comments coming in here. So I have a feeling that you guys have a lot to say about this. One of the things that's been just thrilling for me is when I'm at a Comic-Con and somebody comes up and says, hey, I really have loved your Wake Up Wednesdays. even though sometimes they're Thursdays and Fridays, and that they appreciate them and would like more. And it really, this summer has made me go, people really seem to respond to these, and maybe I should be a little more consistent about it. And consistency, that's another thing I'm working on. I'm a great starter. I am a little bit challenged on the finishing, and sometimes my interest drops away in the midst. So those are all things I'm working on, because I am dedicated to a great life, and a life filled with joy and happiness and a sense of purpose, and you know, to also to be of service. You know, I've been incredibly fortunate in my life. I have created some beautiful things, and some very beautiful things have come to me. And I'm a people person. I love you guys. I want to be one of the people who is part of the solution and not part of the problem. And since clearly at 30, almost 36 minutes, I can yak. I can yak. It's a thing. Anyway, I love you guys. I'm sorry that I was late. Next time I'm going to be at least 1% more on time. Usually I'm just a couple minutes late. This was kind of an epic late. But I'm working on it, and I'm doing it with love and compassion, and I'm not expecting too much all at once. I would be very happy to be 37% better on the different subjects that I'm aiming at than going backwards or not trying at all. So I love you so much, and I think what I'm aiming at is twice a month. But please, if you feel like it, leave a comment. I always kind of do it last minute, so if you would like to subscribe, go ahead and subscribe. A lot of times what I do is I'll put something out to the community, and it'll go to you to let you know when I'm going to jump on, because I kind of have a crazy schedule. I don't always plan in advance. I like that about my life. I don't really plan to change that too much. So if you want to, do it. If you don't want to, don't do it. All good with me. I love you guys, and I will see you next time. And now I just have to figure out how to turn this off. Oh, there we go. It's been so long, she doesn't even know how to end the video.